People live on the streets and struggle even in their household. They don't get the help that they need and deserve. There's not much to do to get these people off the streets but give a few dollars, but I believe we can do more to help. Poverty is when you are struggling and you are very poor. This usually leads to being homeless or not being able to afford your needs. People need to pay more attention to people in poverty and do more to help the situation not being the problem in the US. But how can we accomplish this in later years? We need to make a change because it is one of the biggest issues in America and no one is helping as much as they need to. The poverty rate is 15% and has increased about 2.5% since 2007. As you can see in this picture, there are more than just hunger in America.
The have and the have-nots. The line. The place that people on the bottom are trying to get to, and the place that people on the top are trying to keep from going below. They don't want to look below it either. They don't want to see what's down there because that'll make them feel too guilty about being above it.
The line is the firing line at which people face survival or death. And sometimes the person holding the gun is their neighbor, and sometimes it's their congressman or their alderman who's not doing enough to help them.
The line is where you are always in a position to give help. And then for the first time, this line of I've gone from being somebody who could help to being somebody who needs help.
There's a certain amount of pride that comes in being independent. And there's a certain amount of shame that comes into having to beg for every little thing that you get.
$23,000 is no money, nearly. And yet I could still see families who make $35,000, who are still poor, who are still about to lose their home, who still can't afford groceries.
When you start trying to tell people about poverty, they start making excuses and making heartless statements about why people are in poverty, and they don't even have a clue. They don't even have a clue.
49 million people who are forced to choose between basic needs like rent, utilities, and food. 49 million people who don't have the resources necessary to make ends meet. 49 million people who are hungry. That's 1 out of every 6 people living in this country who are food insecure, a figure that hasn't changed since 2008.
Medical bills push 10.6 million people into poverty, but there are better things the government has done for poverty that has helped a lot. For example,
Veronique DeRucci, if we could start with you. I want to start with this chart that your center, Mercatus Center, put out in the increase in food stamp enrollment. In the last 5-10 years, what's happened?
So there's been a large increase in food stamps enrollment in the last 10 years. There was kind of two phases, 2001 to 2006. There was a doubling of the spending in food stamps. And then since 2007, almost double the enrollment. A lot of this, especially in the last 4 years, we could assume it's economic issues, but it's mostly actually increasing eligibility, because as unemployment rate goes down, food stamps enrollments keep going up.
Stamps have kept 4.7 million people out of poverty and unemployment insurance 3.4 million. The cost of food stamps have dramatically rose. The U.S. government considers an annual income of $23,550 to be the poverty line for a family of 4.
As citizens, we believe that in 2014, the U.S. Congress should consider making something like an Every Care for people in poverty, giving them food, clothes, and shelter all around the country. The supplies can all be donated to help. Donations will basically be the supplies, since so many people are in poverty and it would be too much money to spend. accept the expense on making a building like this. We may not help everyone in poverty, but it would do more to lower the percentage in poverty. Everything helps, but this could help even more.